Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be with us. Also, those joining us through our online affiliates around the world, including our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. I'm so excited to welcome Dr. Robert D. Ballard to our program today. He's celebrating this fascinating book, not only about his life as an explorer, but also a look into himself as well. The book is called Into the Deep, a memoir from the man who found Titanic. We'll talk to Dr. Ballard not only about the reflection on his life, but also the amazing achievements he's been able to have, and also what he hopes other people realize what's possible for them along the way as well. Dr. Ballard, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited about this because one of the things that really comes out in the book, Dr. Ballard, and it goes to something I hope our audience really takes in. You are known for some extraordinary things, even as the subtitle of the book alludes to, Finding the Titanic. But you have always been a person that's been on the hunt in life, been curious about life. Do you think that's one of the things that's kept life fun for you?
Yeah, I was a kid, an ADHD kid, but fortunately I was able to go on the Outback, and my parents would just say, be home before it's dark, and I would just take off and turn over rocks. I've always been curious. I've always been an explorer, but I needed to harness myself. Not only do I have a lot of energy, I'm also dyslexic, and it's a great gift if you figure it out, and I was fortunate to figure it out.
Yeah, and you're very open and honest about, learning and what that was like for you, Dr. Ballard, as well as, of course, what do you think has kind of driven you along the way. But I think it also is so inspiring for other people. Have you found that to be the case as you shared your story? Have people have been inspired by you?
Well, I've been mentoring a lot now. I have an amazing team of people. I think of them as my extended family. Yes, I have a lot of kids of all persuasions. Our core of exploration, 55% women, every face in our country, every kind of wiring diagram you can have. I love that diversity, that each of them have a different, unique talent. I always tell people, don't try to be someone else.
Yeah.
Be yourself, because if you try to be someone else, you can only be second. But you're unique, and you need to take your unique skills and turn it into something special.
Such a great thing. And I love the fact that even when you were facing challenges, whether we're talking about health challenges, you one of the things you said in Into the Deep, Dr. Ballard, that stood out to me is that when you were faced with an opportunity and, you weren't feeling your best, you weren't going to let that feeling stop you from moving forward and trying. Where do you think that comes from? Because there are so many people who, when they're hit with a setback or an obstacle, they do give in to it. What do you think has kept you?
It's how you process it. It's how you process it. Walt Disney, who was also a dyslexic, right on my desk, I'm staring at right now, a little Mickey Mouse there, says, if you can dream it, you can do it. Walt Disney. You have to have the passion to get through failure. Failure is not something you avoid. Failure is the greatest teacher you're going to meet. You have to move through it, take it on, and proceed. And it's your passion when you get knocked down. I've been knocked down more than a prize fighter. And I lay down there, and what gets me up? My passion. And I get up, and I go, and I've overcome, say, what did I learn from my last failure? I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah. And you, as we are able to learn about you, we also are able to learn about the loss that you've had in your life as well. What was it like for you to to think about that? Because, again, we know you for the professional things. A lot of us are just through this book finding out more about you and your own personal struggles. What was it like for you to be able to share that with us?
Well, losing your son days before he's 21 is devastating. And you do not say a week later, a month later, now where was I? You are now a different human being. And that really tragically did a lot of positive things for me. Obviously, my son was gone. But it gave me a new perspective that really, I think, had a lot to do with my continuing on.
Yeah. and you've been able to do it in so many great ways that we're now able to reflect on. For those who are just tuning in, you're listening to Conversations Live. I'm so excited to welcome Dr. Robert D. Ballard to our program today. He's reflecting not only on his career, but also life, and his new book out this year, Into the Deep, a memoir from the man who found Titanic. In the chapter that I think really kind of sums up so much about you, chapter 16, Dr. Ballard, you talk about discovering yourself, and there you really go into, I think, the makings of the man. What do you want us to know when it comes to life about the importance of not only celebrating the successes like you talk about, but also recognize how you got there?
Well, my son, dyslexia is hereditary, and so it's been passed on to some of my children. And also I'm ADHD, which is a common roommate. And one of my sons, I had on the window the mirror when he brushed his teeth in the morning, it says, "My body is like a race car, and when I learn how to drive it, I'm going to win lots of races." So it's really looking in that mirror, and when you're dyslexic, you're told you're stupid when you're really not. You just learn differently, but it has a lot to do with creating shame. I mean, the prison population is dominated by dyslexics, the higher suicide rate. So it's a two-edged sword, and you've got to be able to learn how to take advantage of it and not have it take you down. And so for me, I just power through. My feeling is that when I'm in the game, I get to determine when the game's over, and I don't stop until I win. And I remember when I went after the Bismarck the first time, I didn't find it, and they were National Geographic film crews filming me, and they said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "Round one to the Bismarck. It isn't. I'll get it the next shot." And I got it. Same with Titanic. You don't get things right away. Amelia Earhart's still out there. We didn't get it last try. We're going back. So I think it's that stubborn determination that is driven by your passion. It's the passion. Not what your parents want you to be, what you want to be. Don't let anyone talk you out of your passion. It's your driving engine, and it soldiers you through.
Such a great point and so inspiring, Dr. Ballard. Last thing I want to ask you about, I know you have a crazy day ahead of you, so I want to ask you this one last question. You mentioned National Geographic. They, of course, have the feature on you this month, An Explorer's Life. You're so used to covering stories. What is it like for you now to be the subject of a story?
Well, I'm a storyteller. I was born in Kansas, and first of 13 generations to go to college. And my grandmother says your eyes are brown because you're so full of it. So I'm just can't stop, wanting to share what I've learned with others.
Well, we are so glad that you have done it, especially in the new book. Again, everyone, Dr. Robert D. Ballard has been our guest. Into the Deep, a memoir from the man who found Titanic, is out now through our friends at Amazon.com or through your favorite local bookstore. Dr. Ballard, this has truly been an honor. I really appreciate you stopping by the program today.
My pleasure. Take care.
You as well, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.